Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever it is, wherever you are, and welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, brought to you by us, the folks at Nerd Caliber. This is our weekly nerd news show where we talk about all kinds of nerd things that happened, in the news over the past week, or a little bit more than a week in some cases. In this case, we've got two items: one that didn't make it to last week's docket, and one that I missed, and I'm still kicking myself for missing. Not sure how that happened. But I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor in chief of Nerd Caliber. I am first person shooter on the Facebooks, Burley underscore adopter on the Twitters. And joining me tonight, let's see, we will start with the only one wearing a hat, Mr. Byron. If you would introduce yourself, please.
Hi guys, Byron McNeil, aka Byron D Zero, international man of mystery. I wear a bunch. I wear a bunch of different hats at Nerd Caliber. I do
Pun.
social media. I do various video content and our articles. And aside from that, I also have my own little side projects. I do my own YouTube stuff. I post a lot of my art on Instagram. I have a store for my art too, which nudge nudge wink wink, not a sponsor. um, and I have my own webcomic series called Codename Blackbird, which I'm currently working on the latest chapter. If you wanna read and check it out, the website address is www.codenameblackbird.thecomicseries.com. And if that's too long, you can just go to my link tree, look for Byron D Zero. It's got all my other projects on there as well.
Cool beans. And also joining us tonight, Ashley, if you would.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
There you go.
No, I'm just kidding. How's it going? I'm Ashley Rogers. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns. I'm a playwright based out of New York City. And yeah, we just premiered on Twitch the November episode of Scowl. We're doing Digital Defenestration, which is our monthly web series that we're doing at least throughout the self-isolation period. Maybe beyond that, we'll see. But yeah, it's our fight show that I do in New York City that we've taken to digital spaces. So we're figuring that out. And on Thursday, we'll be releasing publicly the episode of Shrill that we did through Is It Transphobic, the Is It Transphobic podcast that I did with my good friend Cleo Stiller and Chloe Kozer.
That is a mouthful.
I know. I just released two episodes. One is Patreon exclusive, an interview with my good friend Chloe Stiller, who wrote Modern Manhood. But this episode has my friend Chloe Kozer, who is a comic out of New York, where we talk about the Hulu show Shrill.
All right, so we're clear. All right, we got that. All right,
clear.
Cool.
We're good.
I can see how that might be a little bit challenging to keep straight. So joining us, let's see. Hello, hello, Eliza. Not sure why it hid that message.
Eliza!
There you go. And Cesar, hello. Yvette, welcome back to the show. Allison, welcome back to the show. Waifu Pennywise, welcome back to the show. Yvette, my birthday is coming up. If it falls in between some of our shows, early happy birthday. If it doesn't, then we'll try to say it, when it's closer to your birthday. All right, waifu Pennywise. Also, I came out as gender fluid. Congratulations, and that is kind of topic will be coming up.
Awesome. Yeah.
So congratulations, and I just I'm trying to think of the way that I want to phrase this. Please find the support that you need to get through what is undoubtedly going to be some difficulty that you're going to face.
But also much love and support, and I am so happy for the celebration that you're having right now and that you will be having. But at the same time, exactly like Rodney says, I hope that any rough times that you encounter in that period is also you're able to find support and the folks that you need to through that. But yeah, congratulations.
I might add that whatever you're going to do, just remember that you're not alone. You have an entire digital universe of people that are there that will be there for you to help lift you up if you feel alone.
As trans auntie, we don't have to just focus on the sadness and the pain. It's also good. But
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And that's what I'm saying. If you're having a hard time finding those people IRL, like Byron said, the digital world is a good place to try to find them as well. Let's see. Other Really Dicey, welcome to the show on the Twitters. Or I mean the Twitches, not the Twitters. We don't stream live to Twitter. That would be silly. And so blatant plea for anybody who's on any other platform. We're trying to build up our Twitch numbers. If you have a Twitch account and you want to jump over to that to chat over there, please feel free to do. It is like everything else, /NerdCaliber. In this case, it would be twitch.tv/NerdCaliber. But if not, that's fine. Pick the platform we're streaming to that you like and stick with it. And we'll have you there. So that out of the way, let's jump right into our first topic. And the first topic is a sad one. We are remembering David Prowse, passed away at the age of 85, which is, a good long life, particularly for a very, very tall, athletic bodybuilder. That kind of lifestyle does not lend itself to living long. But as it turns out, it came out, his daughter made the statement that it was COVID that did him in. So that's even doubly tragic, knowing that, there's the possibility that he might not have ever had reason to have gotten it if things in various places around the world had been done better. So Prowse, I was trying to find this. I couldn't figure out, mainly because nobody has this information, whether or not I saw him in Star Wars first or in A Clockwork Orange first. I think I saw A Clockwork Orange at a midnight showing the same year, 1977, that Star Wars or Episode 4 A New Hope came out. But which one I saw when, I don't know. And I certainly had no idea that it was David Prowse who played the bodybuilder bodyguard in the latter third of A Clockwork Orange that was also inside the Darth Vader suit until like years later, when a lot of the information about who was playing these characters, other than the voice James Earl Jones, started coming out. So I'm not sure. My first exposure to him might have actually been A Clockwork Orange. Luminous, welcome to the show. And I'm not going to say them yet to see if anybody else knows any of this stuff. I looked at his IMDb profile. Anybody seen him in other things that they remember?
I can't say they have.
I sadly no, and I just learned that he was in A Clockwork Orange right now, so that is amazing.
So
I didn't realize that was him.
Wow. He's the rich man's bodyguard who carries him around, when Alex comes to the, crawls to the house.
Yeah.
So, and I had no idea, mainly because a lot of these things were in like full makeup, so I had no idea. He played the Minotaur in a number of episodes of the Third Doctor's arc in Doctor Who.
Wow.
So obviously an ancient Greece kind of thing. He was a cyborg in the original BBC Tomorrow People.
There's a name I haven't heard in ages.
I forgot I even forgot they tried to do an American reboot only like 5-6 years ago, which went nowhere.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
Tanked hard.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. And he played another bodyguard in pardon me, in the original British Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Wow.
Oh.
Yes. I was just thinking, I was looking up that picture from the images from A Clockwork Orange, and I was just it just made me think about like all the times in pop culture where that concept has been used.
Of
a larger, more muscular person carrying a weaker person.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean that's so common that it might as well be considered just cliche at this point.
Yeah, like one of the most recent dictation, like the most recent in renditions of that has been in DuckTales, actually, for me.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it was
I didn't see that one. Anyway, for the people watching, I brought up the image of where this is him playing that bodyguard in Clockwork Orange.
He looks so much like Austin Powers. I
Yeah.
don't mean to laugh
Oh my
about
God,
that.
it
It's
does.
just like, wow. Oh.
And I don't think, yeah, I guess his hair was that black back then.
Yeah.
It was very dark.
Oh, behave.
Oh, poor guy.
This one threw me, and I absolutely love the idea that I didn't know that he was in this. He played the characters Red Herring and the Black Knights in Terry Gilliam's Jabberwocky. And Byron, we lost you. Oh, there you are. Okay.
I dropped something. Sorry.
Okay. If you've never seen Jabberwocky, folks, I don't know that I can recommend it. It's kind of like if the 1970s John Waters had made a Monty Python movie. There are parts of it that are just disgusting. All played for humor. And the parts that are like really funny are hilariously funny. But it's, imagine all of the really horrible aspects of living in early medieval England shown in all of their truly horrible aspects and played for laughs. It's really it's an obscure movie worth digging into if you are a Monty Python completionist.
I do love my obscure films.
Look it up, Jabberwocky, Terry Gilliam, oh crap, can't remember his name. Yeah, one of the other Pythons plays the lead character. We got Luminous. Welcome to the show. Hello, everyone. I got to see David Prowse speak at one convention. He was a true gentleman. He's been at a number of conventions I've been at. I usually am so busy shooting at conventions, I've hardly ever seen a celebrity. If it's not somebody I know personally, like I'll walk up to the cosplay row or something so I can say hello to friends. I just almost never get a chance other than in passing. But again, I think I've seen him in passing at one of the cons. Julia, Portuguese last name. Okay. My son. I'm assuming you're referring to either David Prowse or Malcolm McDowell or the actor who was in the wheelchair, whose name I can't remember. Luminous also says he was not in Superman, but David Prowse trained Christopher Reeve for his role in Superman. I did not know that. That's really cool.
No.
And Lie TV Forever. I was going to go with Liet, as in Liet Kynes. But I think it's Lie TV Forever. Welcome to the show on the Twitches. And you remember, so I remember that. You remember which thing that we were just talking about, just so that everybody else can say. Oh, Mads. Julia says Mads is my son. So, yeah, we'll get to Mads. Lie TV Forever, he was his trainer. You're right. Wow. See? So many people out there know so much more about this stuff. It's wonderful to hear these things. So that David Prowse, rest in peace. It's the world's definitely a lesser place without him in it. And, the fact that his favorite role was that he played a public service character in England, similar to Smokey the Bear, although I think it had to do with crossing safety, and was really well known for that. And he has said that is absolutely the favorite thing he ever did.
Oh.
That tells you everything you need to know about that guy.
That's like one of those national treasure roles.
Yeah. So sad to see that, and extra sad when it came out that it was for a probably pretty preventable thing like COVID.
Yeah.
Now we're moving on to something much better. Wonderful news. That is Elliot Page. Elliot Page is the actor that we know from Umbrella Academy, from Juno, from a number of X-Men films, from so many wonderful things. Somebody in one of my comments reminded me Hard Candy. Boy, go watch that.
Yeah.
Wow. But Elliot Page is now Elliot Page. Elliot Page is trans.
Yep.
Elliot Page is he and him. And congratulations for yet another courageous step in a life that has been pretty characterized by making very courageous announcements, and good on him.
Yes.
Yeah, Elliot Page has always been one of those actors that whenever they're in a role, I will go to and I will say like, all right, great, I will watch this because he is in this. And I am using he and they because Elliot has stated that he wants either he or they. Using he or they, I use she and they, so it's like yeah. And so he has been someone that I go to a role because of him, and so now, especially as a trans person myself, it is one of those things that I feel like Elliot is probably one of the higher profile trans celebrities right now.
Yep.
And that's amazing and good, but at the same time, it's also one of those things that in his coming out statement, he addresses both the fact that he has a certain amount of privilege, especially as a white trans person, especially as a trans person that people know, especially as a trans person of means. And so because of that, he is still a little bit worried, and like notably so. But ultimately, it's amazing. I'm so glad. I am going to one day be very glad when an announcement like this is not news and is just, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just update the pronouns, update the name. But at the same time, for right now, where we are trying to find and have more celebrities that are understanding themselves and coming out and feeling like they can come out, it's amazing that he has been able to do this. So I'm very. This has just been on all of my pages today, and all of my friends who are trans men named Elliot, and there are a lot of them, have all been very excited. So
one thing that entered my mind is with Elliot's filmography, the worry about him being dead named.
I mean, ultimately, and that is a thing, especially if you are a celebrity and people have known you. There is a certain extent that you don't have that privilege that some trans folk do, and I state that as a very loaded statement. But the privilege of being able to tell people this is my name and have people not know who you are, and not have that sort of like literally easily accessible by Google past.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there it is. And ultimately, I think, especially with him and with being the person that he is and seeing interviews that he has conducted in the past and being the kind of, for lack of a better term, the spitfire that he is, I think he's going to be able to not only put a real immediate stop to that kind of stuff from a lot of the people that are going to make a real change in the future, but also be the type of person that will be able to create pieces that will be able to inform people and be able to show in a way that is accessible but also entertaining how to deal with an issue like that. And that's what I'm really, especially as a trans media creator, what I'm really excited about is, all right, so now we've got someone who knows what they're doing, who actually has influence, who can do a lot of things. I'm curious where this is going to go and how that's going to influence a lot of other things. So
Yeah, I think he gave us a way to handle that by accepting they as an acceptable pronoun. So I'm thinking that for Nerd Caliber, anytime we make that reference for any roles prior to this announcement, they certainly works.
I mean, ultimately, the other thing, and this is an issue that we run into a lot with some folks, is that some folks view a person using they them pronouns or combining they them with a binary gendered pronoun as being a stepping stone, as something like that, either like to make it easy for people to accept, and in reality it's not necessarily like that. And maybe that is true, maybe that is something that he is just sort of I'm okay with they for now.
Yeah, I mean,
but accepting he and they as absolutely a part of who he is still a very big thing, and I think we shouldn't necessarily discount him using they pronouns as a stepping stone. So
yeah, I'm not. Believe me,
yeah.
I'm not.
I would like to add that it's definitely up to the individual. Like you go with someone like Rebecca Sugar, who also identifies as non-binary. They prefer and they don't really have a preference. It's like for Rebecca Sugar, they don't really feel like a man or a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same for me as well. It's like, I don't really feel like one thing or another. So it's like, you can refer to me as he or they. It's all about how I feel internally. Mm-hmm. I reject a lot of the conventions of modern masculinity. And for me, it's more of a state. It's more cementing that statement than anything else.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Julia has to go. Thanks for being on the show or being in the chat. Keep up the amazing videos, Julia says. Thank you very much. Waifu, so this is a good way to use the they pronoun for me. Waifu asks which X-Men films, and they played Kitty Pryde in X2 and the third X-Men, which wasn't just X3.
And Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past.
And Days of Future Past, of course, yeah.
Yep.
So those 3 X films they were in as Kitty Pryde. And also, Waifu, I have a few friends that are transgender and non-binary, as do we all here, and big supporters. So I'm sure that there's going to be further questions. It's going to bring up some interesting questions right out of the gate. That's Vanya from season 2 of Umbrella Academy. What kind of reaction is he going to get if he continues to play a female lesbian character in Umbrella Academy? And I think that there will be people who will be completely horrible about that, but it will also bring up a very interesting discussion for those people who can have a discussion and not be horrible.
Yeah, like I'm really curious about that and what Umbrella Academy's plan is for that, because it is one of those things where, like, okay, then we just make Vanya Van, but people have known this character, so we are going to have a like coming out trans story, which can be fine. It's just we're kind of sick of them, but especially when you've got a star who comes out midway through production, it's like, well, I mean, you got to address it. But it would be very interesting if Elliot still wanted to portray Vanya as female, because it is one of those things that I would be curious about to see what kind of story that would be. And it is up to the individual performer. Like, the reason that this could open up a whole can of worms. So I'm not necessarily going to go too far into, because we have a lot of other topics to get to. But ultimately, in my opinion, as someone who does casting, as someone who does a lot of media creation for specifically roles that could be filled by trans actors, it is up to that trans individual to decide whether they are okay portraying certain roles, rather than necessarily saying that, because I've definitely been denied roles that are trans women because they start off as a masculine presenting person and they've just decided, oh, well, we don't want to insult you. And it's just like, yo, you're giving me a paycheck. That's not an insult. That's employment. Like, so I'm curious what they would do and what they will do, but that's my 2 cents on that whole thing.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure they will handle it one way or another. The only thing that they, from every kind of marketing and branding standpoint, they couldn't do is recast Vanya.
Yeah.
And that would be just, beyond the pale, and would destroy their credibility. Anyway, moving on. I saw this and just about jumped out of my seat. That is Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage in one of his many, many fantastic nerd roles. That's Eitri the Dwarf, that forged Stormbreaker, Thor's new axe hammer thing from Infinity War. But also, of course, Tyrion Lannister and so many other roles.
Days of Future Past again.
Days of Future Past, yeah, Dr. Trask.
Yeah.
Did they give him Bolivar or his son? Was it Bolivar Trask?
I think it was Bolivar, because it was in the past. What they were. Yeah.
And the news is that this wonderful actor is going to be playing the Toxic Avenger in a Troma-approved and executive-produced reboot being made by Legendary Films.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Okay,
Ashley.
okay,
I'm super excited. Give it to me.
To direct it.
No, I am okay with here. I am not here to step on people's joy on this. I never Toxic Avenger never really clicked for me. The only thing that did click was growing up we had the Toxic Avenger or the Toxic Crusader
cartoon, yes.
cartoon, and in Edinburgh I got to see the Toxic Avenger musical, and so that is just like I was here for the Toxic Avenger musical. The movie did not grip me. I'm curious, hey, it's a reboot. Maybe they'll do a thing that I'll be interested in. Peter Dinklage, let's see what they do. Because I do like Peter Dinklage, but okay.
So I kind of had a similar experience with the Toxic Avenger franchise. I saw the cartoon first growing up, and then as like a tween, I saw the second movie on cable. I don't remember where and when I saw it exactly, but I remember watching it and I was kind of ambivalent to it because it's just like, okay, cool, it's Toxie, it's what, and like it was like the whole thing about his wife being blind was kind of tone deaf. But which is why in the cartoon his girlfriend and him wore glasses, so it's like, let's work around that.
Yeah, but so that was clearly a nod to Ben Grimm's girlfriend Alicia,
Yes.
From the Fantastic Four. But anyway, yeah, I don't need to defend the films. They are cheese ball movies at the cheesiest level of cheese balls, and that's absolutely true.
Definitely a product of their time.
I mean, it's a trauma film. It's intending, like, that's the thing. Like, what you're getting into with a trauma film, and part of that is because of the Toxic Avenger.
Right.
That's the one that started it all.
Yeah, Trauma made a movie about Killer Chicken, so.
Yeah.
I mean, their mascot is basically a kabuki-clad superhero.
Yeah.
Well,
Waifu
it's
Pennywise,
ableist as hell, but if you're okay with that, like, hey, roll with it. But just know that.
Waifu brings up a good question. I wonder if it's going to be CGI or makeup. I can't imagine they would do this CGI, if only because of the history of trauma. I think they're going to try to be as close to the history of trauma while upgrading it and making it better and so on as possible. So I think they're going to do as much practical effects as possible. And it's not like Dinklage isn't used to having like great big scars on his face or, things like that. Sword in the Stoners. Great name. Welcome to Twitch. And cool. And I'm assuming that's a cool thumbs up for Toxic Avenger reboot. So I was looking through Peter Dinklage's, again, his IMDb, and it reminded me of one of my absolute favorite science fiction shows that only lasted, again, one season, Threshold. If you ever get a chance to just dig into this, Carla Gugino plays a emergency response doctor specializing in things like that, who wrote the government's official response to if a completely unidentifiable contact with an alien civilization happens, and it happens. So she winds up getting recruited into a team that includes a bunch of like super nerd scientists, one of whom is played by Peter Dinklage. And he is a lecherous, alcoholic coward of a super math genius and computer genius. And in that one season, he doesn't break character. They make him do some pretty reprehensible things because he's a drunk and a coward. And it was like one of the bravest writing decisions I'd seen in a long time, to let this guy be as accurate to what he would do as a coward and as a drunk. And unfortunately, there were a lot of other problems with the show, and it never made it past one season. But check that out if you guys are science fiction fans. And Peter Dinklage fans, because he's amazing. Brent Spiner is in it. He's curmudgeonly, of course, and wonderful. Speaking of not so wonderful, that just appeared on your screens there is Joss Whedon with his head hung low because he knows that from this movie Avengers: Age of Ultron, it's going to suck. Talking to Chris Evans on the set of Avengers: Age of Ultron, I'm sure that's not why he's hanging his head. And the news is he's hanging his head right now because he got booted off of his latest project that we talked about probably a year ago, the upcoming HBO series The Nevers, which is sort of a Victorian age, sort of steampunk, cyberpunky mix about a bunch of people in Victorian England who wind up, or Victorian era, who wind up getting powers and having to deal with that sort of stuff. He put out a post in which he said he was very proud of the work he did, blah, blah, blah. This is HBO's 2 sentences. We have parted ways with Joss Whedon. We remain excited about the future of The Nevers and look forward to its premiere in the summer of 2021.
Ooh, yeah.
You can go first.
That is the most that they are legally allowed to. That reads to me as the most they are legally allowed to say about that.
Yep. All of the headlines, has exited, has left. Mm-hmm. We have parted ways is an active statement. It's not passive. Yes. We have done this thing. And that means they booted him as much as they can't actually say it that way.
Mm-hmm. It's not even this is a thing that we talk about in the fan wrestling community, is the future endeavors. Wish you well in your future endeavors. Not even a future endeavors for Joss Whedon.
Kind of like the whole thing with how dirty they did China back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's when they don't do that for wrestlers. When WWE lets go of a wrestler and does not have we wish them well in all their future endeavors, it's a telling thing from the company standpoint.
Yep.
That said, I can't help but just be fine with this and actually more excited for the Nevers. For me, Whedon had a couple of really good shows. He's got good intuition when it comes to some story elements and dialogue.
Yep.
But he, as a human, has done a lot of toxic things on his sets that have come out, not even recently, that have been coming out for years. And so for me, I'm actually a lot more interested in the Nevers now, knowing that Whedon is no longer a part of it. And yeah.
I would say for me, Joss Whedon's definitely no longer the golden goose of Hollywood that he once was. I haven't really read into a lot of the stuff that he's been doing on set, but it's just some of his writings that never saw the light of day that have come to light have been kind of cringy, and I'm just like, I'm not. And then there's just the fact that I'm more relieved that I don't have to listen to a snark-ridden dialogue for this show now.
Yeah,
this will be this. Of course, he did gain a little more good faith with me in the case of Much Ado About Nothing, but you can't really fill Shakespeare with snark.
Right. Waifu asked, why did they, I assume you mean boot him off, said bottled, but I assume you mean why did they boot him off? We don't know. He certainly doesn't characterize it as being booted off, but HBO's statement makes absolutely, perfectly clear that is what happened. It could very well be something went on set and people complained because now they feel they can because Ray Fisher complained about his work on Justice League. Or it could just be that they got enough pressure from people because of his reputation from Justice League that it wasn't worth having him around. Mm-hmm. Hey, Joss, stick to writing comic books. Your run on X-Men was genius. Your Buffy comic books are better than the series, and I like the series.
Just quit writing every female character like they are Buffy.
Well, that's true. Or solve whatever the problem is that you're dealing with that makes you be horrible to work with on set.
So. I like that option. That's a good option.
Yeah, solving problems. I forgot to say hello to Harry. Welcome to the show. Sorry about that. Harry Brady jumped in a while back, and Mr. Krakowian is back. Welcome to the show. And if you can't see the chats, folks, he offers greetings to all three of us.
Hello.
I would say that a lot of for me, a lot of the problem with Joss Whedon has been him getting caught up in his own popularity.
Possibly, I don't know that. Or here's another one: stick to producing. Make another Cabin in the Woods.
Like that's the thing. I'm not, because there possibly are going to be people that are saying like, oh, you just want to get people fired. This is someone's work, and he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be fine. I'm not going to cry for Joss Whedon.
The amount of money he made off of the first Avengers, he does not have to make another movie. I guarantee it. And even off Infinity War, it's still made just under $1 billion. So,
and plus subsequent viewings on Disney Plus.
Not Infinity War. I'm sorry, Age of Ultron. Yeah, and those movies. Who knows what sort of, given Disney's problems that we've discovered recently about paying people. Actually, this didn't come up, and I just saw this a little while ago, and I should have put it on. Alex Ross is now complaining that his designs for Wonder Woman and the Kingdom Come designs for what Brandon Routh wore in the last CW crossover, the Kingdom Come Superman with a black under the S, he didn't get paid a dime for any of that. He designed the golden winged armor for Kingdom Come for Wonder Woman that they're using in Wonder Woman 1984. That's his artwork. Didn't get paid a dime. So Warner Brothers is just as guilty as Disney has been for not paying people. But anyway, I'm sure Joss is making.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine.
He's gonna be fine. And yeah, like Ashley said, get your help, Joss.
Yeah. Like I said again, white man in Hollywood, he'll be fine.
Yep. And if he's difficult to work with, and there are still going to be people who are going to hire him, Michael Bay. That's not a thing that stops you from making money in Hollywood. Finally, Harvey Weinstein level stuff is a thing that gets some people no longer making. But that didn't even stop Bryan Singer from trying to work his last movie, ultimately getting replaced because he just never showed up. But Hollywood needs to do better. That's a whole rant. Anyway.
Understatement of the year.
Yep.
We're just opening up all the cans of worms on this episode.
All the cans of worms. Well, here's one that isn't much of a can of worms.
Okay.
That's Anna Kendrick. We all love Anna Kendrick. Anna Kendrick has been, or is in a movie that's completed, that just got picked up to run on Netflix, called Stowaway, with Toni Collette, Daniel Day Kim, and Shamir Anderson. It is, so here's the description. On a mission to Mars, an unintended stowaway played by Anderson accidentally causes severe damage to the ship's life support systems. Facing dwindling resources and a potentially grim outcome, a medical researcher, played by Kendrick, emerges as the only dissenting voice against the clinical logic of both her commander, Collette, and the ship's biologist, Daniel Day Kim. Aside from a slight change in the setting, that is the plot and an increase in the number of characters of one of the best science fiction short stories ever written, called Cold Equations. I don't know if you want to read that story before you see this movie, because it's going to give away what is a very, very impactful plot element. But if it is, this is going to be a hell of a movie. It's I don't want to give away any more. If you are the kind of person who would rather read something that you think was inspired, go find this story, Cold Equations, written in the 1950s. So it's in all sorts of collections out there now. If not, wait for the movie, which is coming out in 2021, according to Netflix. Sometime in 2021. So
I'm definitely interested in seeing this, because there's just been this huge period of time where Anna Kendrick has been playing these kitschy American apple pie type roles, and this seems like a very solid deviation from what she's used to.
Yep. Or what we're more used to seeing her in, comedies and so on. I'm trying to bring her up right now. So I can. Oh, I typed too fast and screwed it up. She was in a fairly serious role, Up in the Air.
Mm.
Excellent job in that movie, up against George Clooney.
I was thinking of a Small Favor.
Or A Small Favor.
Yes.
I am just so here for this. Like, I'm so here for when Anna Kendrick goes outside of what you expect from her.
Yes.
Right now, she's in a series of Lay's potato chip ads.
That's true.
And they're just, if it was anyone else doing this exact material, I would just be so bored, so angry, so all the weird emotions I get from commercials.
I challenge that with one other actress, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. If that was her, I would totally watch them.
There are actors and actresses that could portray these things. Anna Kendrick is absolutely one of them. All right, I'm here for it whenever she's singing this Lay's potato chip ad.
I get Anna Kendrick doing serious work up against Toni Collette.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be something to watch, folks.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Toni Collette is amazing. Most recent turn, obviously, in Knives Out, and just, playing so against type. Toni Collette is always playing like high-strung, high drama, and here she's the hippie, in Knives Out, and in this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of actors in that movie were playing against type too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this. I wish it could tell me a little bit more about when in 2021. The director is Penna. What's the director's first name? Joe Penna, who did the Mads Mikkelsen film Arctic. And pay attention, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes.
Coming up shortly. All right, this one.
Back around. Oh, sorry, I was saying it's all coming back around.
It's all coming back around. This one is in here basically just for me because I'm the only one old enough to really remember this stuff. But so they are making a movie based on the cartoon from the 1960s, The Pink Panther. And
we're not the only one. You know that.
Okay. Which was rebooted, Pink Panther and Sons and some other stuff. But the news is it's being made as a combined CGI live action by the same team, including the same director, that did Sonic the Hedgehog. So maybe? Yes? No?
There'll be less fart jokes in a lot of these live action animation hybrid movies if the people who did Sonic are doing it. We'll probably just get like one fart joke.
Yeah, well, that depends on whether or not they're actually going to try to match the humor of the original Pink Panther, which didn't have anything remotely like a fart joke. So I think this is an example of when Hollywood makes bad decisions for old people like me. Sonic was an intellectual property that was still to this day really well known among young people. Pink Panther is like way not. And so
there was an animated reboot in like the mid 2000s on Cartoon Network.
Oh.
They had kiddified his look a little bit. He was less lanky.
Yep.
Like it was definitely on brand with the Pink Panther that all of us grew up with. It was like that he was silent. It was all just like episodic adventures. But it was for the kids in the 2000s.
Yep.
See, this leads into my point, which is that this is the same team that brought us Sonic, and that team gave us these like weirdly muscular Sonic legs. So I'm really excited for this bizarre ad campaign where the Pink Panther is going to have like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson arms. Like, I'm here. Yeah, give me the like weird feelings everyone's gonna have for the Pink Panther design.
You're gonna make him a chibi.
Yeah, and weird human chiclet teeth. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Who knows? Are they going to make him? I'm assuming they're going to sonicify him, so make him a CG that looks physically real. So, hair and so on.
He'll be walking on all fours.
Yeah.
Meow.
Wife Pennywise, isn't he like any other old shows? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but yeah, I mean, he is kind of just like any other old show. Now, the one thing, Sword and the Stoners, Joss Whedon, more like Joss Believin'.
Nice.
Well done.
You win the internet for today.
Exactly. Yeah, if there is one thing, and I can't see how they would do this because it wouldn't fly, is the only real reason this existed was as an excuse to present big band jazz to kids. The soundtrack to everything in the Pink Panther, Ant and the Aardvark, Pink Panther, all of the cartoons that were in this, half-hour cartoon,
Yes,
had the most amazing. Initially, Henry Mancini, who wrote the soundtrack to the movie this was based on, and then therefore the show, but all kinds of amazing big band jazz, and I can't see that being a thing. Wouldn't it be great if that was actually the point of the whole movie? That it was like a jazz movie. No.
I think the timing is really good for it too, because we got this new Tom and Jerry movie coming out next year as well.
Yeah.
Which, from what I can tell, it looks a hell of a lot better than its predecessor.
Yep. Yeah, no, and I like where they're going with it. That the two, have become buddies, and then they wind up having to become enemies again. That's. It looks interesting. It looks like they've actually thought about a way to sort of jazz up this pretty stale idea at this point.
It looks like they get what Tom and Jerry's about.
Yes, yeah, violence. They're the inspiration. They're the inspiration for
Itchy and Scratchy.
Itchy and Scratchy. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so this literally just got announced, and so I'm not sure if it's even in full production yet. So no dates whatsoever. Yeah, nothing in the article here about whether or not it's going to come out anytime in the next year or two. Yeah, Luminous. I miss Henry Mancini. I do too. From a musical standpoint, I actually know nothing about him other than that, but
that score made his career though.
Yeah, I guess it's the thing that he's most well known for. He's known for an awful lot of other stuff.
Oh yeah.
But that's true. That did. All right, moving on to our next topic. This is some more news about a series based on a movie, a series that I'm really looking forward to. These are three actresses that, according to Deadline, will be in the upcoming Willow series, based on the 1980s movie Willow. So we have, from left to right, Aaron Kellyman, who was in Solo. The Freckles should give that away, if you remember that character. Kaylee Spaney was the one in the middle from The Craft Legacy. And Ellie Bamber, the one at the end, the blonde at the end, from Nocturnal Animals. They are going to be playing three characters who are essentially the leads from one other than Willow, of course, who is, again, going to be Warwick Davis. Oh yeah, Warwick Davis.
I actually didn't hear that. That's great. Yeah.
And
he doesn't age. He doesn't age.
He kind of doesn't. I mean, if you've seen him recently, it just he doesn't look a whole lot different than he did in the 1980s when Willow came out. But according to this, and again, this is a single source coming from Deadline, the magazine at Deadline.com. Bamber, the blonde, is playing Dove, whose backstory resembles that of Willow from the movie. Dove is an unassuming kitchen maid who proves that she is the, quote, chosen one as she embarks on a journey. She is joined by Kit, who is the one in the middle, Spaney, a princess whose twin brother is a character who's abducted, that's the journey that they're going on, is to rescue this prince, the twin brother. She's destined to be a leader and ultimately the queen. And Kellyman, the one from Solo, plays Jade, a servant who is Kit's best friend and moral compass. And she's the one that is going to be, like, eventually, potentially anyway, the best warrior in the kingdom.
So, female Matt Mardigan?
I doubt it. If you've seen Val Kilmer lately, I really doubt it. You know, the man's been through some horrible health issues, particularly with apparently throat cancer that he still steadfastly refuses to acknowledge. So yeah, no, I don't think.
No, I said like she'll be the woman.
Oh, she'll be like Mad Mardigan. Yeah, she will be. She'll sort of fill in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that movie.
And just as Greg in the chat on the YouTubes, quick hello from the land of moving boxes. Yeah, yep. Greg,
happy move, Greg. Happy move.
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get you back on the show soon, but you know, we understand.
Slightly unrelated topic, but if you haven't had a chance to play the arcade game of Willow, highly recommend it.
Ooh. I have not. Didn't even know it existed.
Oh yeah, I spent I wasted many a quarter playing that at Roller King.
So please tell me you play Mad Mardigan swinging at double-headed dragons.
You go back and forth between Willow and Mad Mardigan.
Oh, nice.
For the longest time, I put off watching Willow because I thought it was The Wind in the Willows, which is a very different thing.
Very different.
And I don't remember a lot of it, so I need to sit down and rewatch Willow. But I remember enjoying it. I remember a lot of the visuals. I remember the Mad Mardigan like skull face thing, and like there's a lot of good stuff in it. I just need to rewatch it to remember. And this casting, I don't know a lot of these actors, but at the same time, I'm here for it. It looks great. Again, they've got like a whole playground that they can use in the Willow universe. So sure, I'm here for it. Let me see what's going on.
Live TV forever. We need Val Kilmer. Good luck with that. Sword and the Stoners.
I do love Val Kilmer. But
I do
understand.
too.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, I love particularly his small movies. If you've never seen Salt and Sea, run and go watch that movie. Also, one of the most amazing performances by Vincent D'Onofrio. Just.
I love his cheese. I love a lot of his cheese films, though. Too.
Yeah. He's a great comic actor. No question about that too. Sword and the Stoners. I'm hoping for the George Lucas special edition of Willow. Still.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, that's where Mad Mardigan shot last.
I do have a question
about
about
CGI stuff.
Yes.
Is this like a sequel series or is this like a reimagining?
A sequel. They have made that also really clear because Warwick Davis is coming back as Willow. It takes place, fairly long after the events of the Willow movie.
So he'll be in more of a mentor role, you think?
They don't say. I've not seen how they describe exactly what his role will be, but probably.
Ooh, make him the antagonist. No one would see that coming. That'd be freaking cool. Again, I haven't watched it in a while, but I remember him being a very lovely character. So having him be the antagonist might be really interesting.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting.
Speaking of surprise decisions, and this is the one that I alluded to earlier, folks, that I love The Stand. I am so looking forward to this new miniseries. I love the casting for it. Alexander Skarsgård as Randall Flagg. Yes, please. Every day, all day. But I've always been wondering, because they haven't announced who's playing Trash Can Man. Matt Frewer in the original TV series.
Oh, yes!
Mm-hmm.
And this was announced before our last show, folks. How did I miss this? Oh, wrong fade, wrong fade. Ezra Miller is going to be Trash Can Man. And he... According to this article in Entertainment Weekly, he designed the look himself.
Mm-hmm.
The scars, what he calls flame-proof underwear, Because Trash Can Man, if you haven't read the book, is a pyromaniac who loves
Yes.
explosions and setting fires, and he plays a pretty important role in the overall story. Although it's kind of weird how his story winds up getting integrated into the story of all of the rest of the very large cast.
Yeah, from what I remember from the miniseries in the 90s, Trash Can Man was essentially Junkrat. He kind of just did whatever he kind of just did whatever he wanted, and his goals would align with whoever he happened to be with at the time.
You know, Junkrat. I just put the picture back up there. I'm not saying Ezra Miller was channeling Junkrat when he came up with this look, but yeah,
Maybe.
So, and I'm trying to just as a quick note, also with Ezra Miller as a human, I'm trying to remember exactly which pronouns Ezra uses, because I know Ezra is non-binary, and I forget if Ezra uses they them or.
Think he they, but if I'm wrong, more than happy to go to they them.
I love this costume so much.
But yeah, it looks. But yeah, to kind of comment on that as well. It's been forever since I've touched the stand, but I've been seeing the ads for the stand. I'm here for the stand. I stand the stand. And I am so, like, the look of that costume looks great.
He's here all night.
I'm here for it. The only other thing that I'm trying to remember is, because I know Ezra got into a little bit of hot water maybe a couple of months ago, and I don't know how that ended, so I'm kind of a little trepidatiously excited, but at the same time, like, I got to look into how that all played out.
So was that the woman that he supposedly attacked?
Yeah.
So that was around April Fool's.
Was it? Okay.
Yes, and as far as I've been able to tell, and I haven't looked this up in months, but nobody's confirmed whether that was legit or an April Fool's. It's never gone to any kind of trial that I know of.
Huh.
And so I'm thinking it was an elaborate April Fool's prank that he and his brother, who apparently his brother has a...
really blew up in their face then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or that's their shtick, or his brother's shtick anyway. Live TV Forever, The Stand is coming back. I need to sit down for this. You didn't know this?
Oh, yeah.
You need
CBS.
to watch our show more often, Live TV Forever.
I got to tell you, CBS has been surprising me. There have been like a couple of like, okay, maybe, okay, I guess. Yeah. And whenever I re-up my monthly, I'm like, all right, do I need? Yeah, okay, this is good. Okay, yeah, I'm here for this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still there for Discovery. I think the new season of Discovery is fantastic.
Same for me. I generally got CBS All Access for the Tony Awards, but like, yeah, I'm definitely pleasantly surprised by everything that I indulge in with CBS All Access.
Yep.
This is definitely no exception.
Picard was amazing.
Picard was spectacular. I'm not a Star Trek person. I watched occasionally. I've seen a couple seasons of Next Gen. Picard was spectacular. The Lower Decks has surprised me at how much I like it.
I haven't seen that yet, but yeah.
It's, if you go in knowing what it is and just say, yep, this is just show up for this. It's great. And I'm finally watching through Disco. I'm finally watching through Discovery, and I do really like it now that I've given it a real shot.
Yeah.
Also, if you just want a good laugh at how dated it is, watch the original Stand.
So good, so bad.
Yes, especially that final conflict with the hand of God.
Well, hey, spoilers. I know the book's been out forever, but there's a new series coming out, so
okay, yeah, no more.
I'm trying to remember, is that the one that has Patrick Starfish, the guy that played Dauber on Coach? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
M-O-O-N. That spells moon.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. Played Tom Cullen, or what? M-O-O-N Moon. Sword and the Stoners, Ezra Miller. That news came quick. Yeah, it came on November 18th, and we missed it. That's how quick it came. Yes, I have no idea how we.
I just want to watch it now just because of Ezra Miller. Jeez.
And I really hope that it would have been very easy for them. It would have been very easy for them to have cut out a lot of that stuff for the original series. And I think they didn't, just because Matt Frewer is so amazing. And I'm pretty sure Ezra Miller is going to be just the same.
Mm.
But we know already that it's a big role. Like, so here's what Marilyn Manson was supposed to be in this show as well. And he was going to play, as it turns out, they finally revealed this, a character that is only in the extended version of the book. And it's a character that only exists to get Trash Can Man to Vegas. It's a character called the Kid. And the writers realized that with the miniseries, they didn't really need that character. And so they decided not to use it. So Manson never actually filmed anything.
Well, that kind of stinks.
It does. From what I've read, he's pretty. That's cool. It happens.
It's Hollywood, baby.
It's Hollywood, baby. Yeah, it would have been neat to see, but the book was huge. When the extended version came out, it became bloatedly huge. And while I'm sure all the other characters were just as interesting as the ones in the first book, this series isn't going to be 20 episodes long. So,
yeah, well, I mean, Stephen King's work can be a bit bloated.
Yes, that is true. All right. We're moving on to our last topic here, folks, and we've referenced this wonderful, wonderful person. That is, of course, Mads Mikkelsen. I picked this image from Casino Royale of him as the chief specifically because he's got the bad eye. I mean, he's basically Grindelwald right here. All he needs is to change the hair color. And the news is that he is going to be stepping in to take Johnny Depp's place in the third Fantastic Beasts movie as Grindelwald. I am very, very keen to see Mads Mikkelsen in anything. Aside from whatever this means for the whole Depp fanboy, Heard fanboy, controversy, fight mix, whatever you want to call it. To me, Depp's played out. Depp as Grindelwald was pretty damn boring. Oh crap, I can't think of his name. The Irish actor who played what Grindelwald was pretending to be in the first movie.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, and he's great. Colin Firth.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah,
very
Colin
different.
Firth
Very
would
different.
be
Colin.
really interesting.
Very different Colin. Yeah. Colin Mockery, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Colin Mockery. That's who it was. Yeah. I think that that Colin Farrell's version of fake Grindelwald was so much better than once Depp actually turned into Grindelwald, or Grindelwald turned into Depp. And from that point on, at the very end of the first movie, it was like, really? Okay. And then the second movie was just, ugh. And in no small part because of Depp. So I am, 100% in for Mads. Whether the reason Depp was booted, which is apparently because he lost his appeal to the libel lawsuit where a newspaper in England called him a wife beater. That was the actual words. And he lost the suit because, in fact, he's been convicted of domestic abuse in England. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be excited for this, but then I'm reminded that this is a J.K. Rowling IP.
Speaking of which, Lie TV Forever, J.K. Rowling has done such a great job being a villain in real life, she should have gotten the role. You might have just stepped right over Sword and the Stoners there.
Ooh, we got some good commentary this week. Yeah.
That's fired.
Like I didn't want to be the trans killjoy here, but yes, no, I 100. So thank you, Byron, for taking a little bit of that heat off of me. But yeah, no, I'm just I think Mads is great. So talking about a person who can act, Oh yeah, someone who can act as a villain. Oh yeah, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Hell yes. But I will not be watching this movie in any way that I can give J.K. Rowling any money if I end up watching it. I have not watched the original Fantastic Beasts movies. And so for me, it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, like I think it's great, but at the same time, keeping Johnny Depp in the whole mix was kind of a nice way of being like, hey, hey, this other toxic person is in this thing. Hey,
keep them all in one place. As far as we know, Jude Law isn't that. There's
Jude
nothing
Law
wrong
is
with him. So,
to the best of my knowledge, Jude Law is a delight.
Yeah.
So.
I would say though that as far as the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing is concerned, they are the real life equivalent of the Gone Girl couple.
Yeah, I firmly believe that they're both horrible people.
I haven't seen Gone Girl, so I don't know exactly what that means, but that's okay. I know at least for me, I am not necessarily going to wade into that too much. I am just going to say that, particularly if you're in an abusive relationship, you can sometimes take on the attributes and same things as your abusive partner. And I'm not necessarily saying one or the other is that, or that they're not both just mutually abusive. But at the same time, I do tend to see a lot more of the "we stand with Johnny Depp" folks than I necessarily see with the like "believe Amber Heard" as well. I will say that yes, they are probably both toxic at this point, but at the same time, yeah.
Yeah, and and besides, I base Amber Heard almost entirely on Aquaman, and God, that's one of the worst performances ever put on film. Mads, I believe we've had obviously reviewers review both movies of the Fantastic Beasts series, so we will have somebody do that as well. And I've only seen them when they've been on something that I subscribe to. So technically, Rowling, I'm sure, gets a cut of that. But at this point, I think I'm going to have to watch the third one again, either as the reviewer and it's free, or on something I'm already paying for, just so that, again, as a completionist. Can they recover from how horrible the second movie was?
A good start might be not having J.K. Rowling write the script.
Did she? Does she?
Yeah, she wrote the script for one of them.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that would definitely be a thing to avoid. Please keep her out of active involvement of any of her properties going forward.
Yeah, because a lot of the problem with those films was similar to that of the Star Wars prequels in the book and the canon in the books.
Yep.
They were trying so hard to make it all make sense that none of it makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. It's stupid to do that. Don't don't do that. It's dumb. And that's it, folks. I have one other image that I almost forgot to put up there. If you want to, please go to patreon.com/nerdcaliber and support us. I think we have like one tier, and it's like the $1 tier. Maybe we have two. It's been so long, I don't remember. We have one patron, so thank you very much. It's basically a way to support us and help us when cons come back to get to cons and keep providing good content. So if you wish to help support us, we'd love to be able to put more than one name at the end of all of our YouTube videos going forward. But again, thank you very much to our one patron. And that's it for the show, folks. Once again, I'm Rodney Brown, editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber. Joining me tonight has been, let's go the other way, Ashley.
Hello, Ashley Lauren Rogers. You can find all of my stuff at ashleylaurenrogers.com. You can also go to Is It Transphobic for the Is It Transphobic podcast. And finally, Scowl Fight for all of my weird, queer, fighty stage combat stuff.
It just occurred to me earlier that digital defenestration, it's like, oh, they call these Zoom windows.
Yeah.
Very smart. Mr. Byron.
Byron McNeil, Byron Zero on multiple facets of the internet. Webcomic is www.codenameblackbird.thecomicseries.com.
And for those of you who couldn't make it through the excitement www.codenameblackbird.thecomicseries.com. And that's it for us, folks. We will see some of you tomorrow or Thursday night. Currently on the docket is Bill and Ted Face the Music. But
Excellent.
we might be changing that just to save it for one of the team members who won't be on for basically the entire month of December, who's very excited about this. So it might be something different. It might be a surprise to you folks. So stay tuned for the event announcement that goes up on our Facebook page to find out what it is that we're going to be talking about if it's not Bill and Ted Face the Music. And we will see you all next week, hopefully. And those for you that did jump over onto the Twitch, thank you very much. Everybody that was in the chat in other platforms, thank you very much. Excellent commentary. I only had to actually block 2 people for saying horrible things. So,
all right.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Moving up in the world.
Yeah, moving up in the world. Actually, I hardly ever have to, so this is kind of a surprising night. We'll see you again. Happy December, everybody. Stay safe, wear the mask, wash the hands, keep the distance. Things are going to spike, so be careful.